All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Kadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, to the hopeful elect, to the brothers and sisters that believe. This is your brother, the priest Tazaiwan from GMS Atlanta, back with another edifying video. And more information to prove that we are close to the fulfillment of the prophecy of the mark of the beast. Revelation 13 and 16. And the microchip implant, the MOTB implant, being mandated around the world, around the planet Earth. A lot of different countries, a lot of different nations are setting up the digital system that is going to lead to the very implant being a requirement for life, buying and selling and working and so forth. And you know, it's all tied to digital ID, digital verification, digital currency. So I have a few articles, a few headlines here. It says Brazil's Serpro, so this is coming out of South America, Brazil, and I've spoken on Brazil setting up the digital ID before, so this would be like an update to that information here. It says Brazil's Serpro surges past revenue targets, expands global digital ID partnerships, because the whole earth is going to be set up with this digital ID system, and you're going to eventually need the implant to buy and sell and travel anywhere around the world. It's going to be a requirement. That's why they're setting up biometrics and facial recognition and digital passports at these different airports around the world. So here it says Brazil's Serpro is celebrating its wins as the company exceeds expectations this year with major agreements signed with the country's cruise industry and the London Stock Exchange. Now, what are they setting up in London? In the UK, the digital ID. Okay? That's been major recent news. It says Serpro is expanding its business overseas as the state-owned firm nears 400 contracts outside Brazil. Today, Serpro operates in 48 countries across 5 continents, and the potential for growth keeps increasing. Juliana Braz, Serpro's international markets manager, said at Web Summit Lisbon 2025. So this is a worldwide movement, okay? Braz revealed that Serpro's goal was to reach 3.4 million US dollars in revenue by 2025, but the end of October had already reached $4.8 million. Now, why are they successful in this? Because it's a lead up to the MOTB. Prophecy has to come to pass. They need this digital ID system set up in these different countries. It says the strong performance is down to strategically targeting opportunities in Africa and Latin America, right? Which a lot of those countries in Africa are the West African nations, which the people there are Israelites, along with the people in Latin America, they're Israelites. So it's all about bringing the tribes under control, and the other nations around the world, they're also in line with this, like India, Indonesia, China. They're all setting up digital ID. It says they are among the private sector and foreign governments as they look to deliver better public services. A public service is given out by the government, whether it's welfare, whether it's education, transportation. These are government services that you're going to need to be verified digitally by this new ID system being set up. Now, speaking of the UK, let me see here. Okay, yeah. So let me get this article here. This is from November 17th, 2025. So this is Monday. Mandatory identity verification for UK companies goes live. Remember what the Prime Minister said about a month back. Okay. He said that you will need digital ID to work. So it says the UK is cracking down on businesses that appoint directors using fake or stolen identities and cleaning up its reputation as a haven for corporate fraud. On Tuesday, the government-operated company Registry Companies House plans to introduce mandatory identity verification for company directors and people with significant control. So this is going to lead to the chip. This is going to lead to digital ID and then the chip. So first you start with these companies. So look, hey, you will need digital ID. You will need the mark in order to buy and sell. Okay? The new requirement is designed to provide more assurance about who is setting up, running, owning, and controlling companies in the UK, says the organization. It is also aimed at cutting down on economic crime and strengthening anti-money laundering controls. Okay, let me get the scripture, because I want to get that word for sale in Revelation 13. So this is Revelation 13 and verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're going to need the mark to buy and sell. Now let's see what that word is for selling. The Greek word here is poleo. Poleo. Right?
Strong's G 4453. Poleo. Poleo.
Poleo. Root word etymology. To be busy, to trade. Yeah, that's what these companies do. They're businesses. To barter, to sell, sellers. To be busy, to barter, to sell whatever is sold. So these companies, they're going to need to be these leaders of these companies. That's why this matters. These leaders of these companies, they're going to need to be digitally verified if they're going to own these companies to sell. Now, let me see if it is mandatory. It's going to cut out organized crime, too. The measures will significantly reduce the ease criminals can create shell companies to facilitate financial crime, including money laundering, says Gus Tomlinson, Chief Technology and Product Officer at identity verification provider. The introduction of verified identities and KYB, Know Your Business standards, will be a boon for digital ecosystems, he adds. So you eventually will need the digital ID. Well, it's mandatory now, but you will need the digital ID to buy and sell, and you're going to need the mark. Okay, the digital ID is not the mark. It's the infrastructure that the mark is going to be set up under. Digital ID verification authentication system. So they're setting it up now, man. Okay? Now there's more countries here. Afghanistan hands out 10 million digital IDs in 4 years. Okay? This is in the Middle East. So you got across the pond in the UK, and you got the Middle East. Okay? It says here over 10 million digital ID cards have been distributed in Afghanistan in the last 4 years of Taliban rule. Yeah, and this digital ID is not something new. It's been set up. It's been being set up since the pandemic. The National Statistics and Information Authority is quoted by Tolo News as saying that the digital ID distribution has been happening through easy service centers across the country. 4 of the centers, known as Asan Khadmat, are located in the capital, Kabul. A spokesman for the NSIA, Mohammed Halim Rafi, said the distribution process has been simplified by giving powers to more provincial offices to address problems which citizens faced in the past. It would be recalled that the distribution of digital ID cards, so they're using cards now, has faced complications in the last few years, with citizens complaining of corruption, bribery, and high travel costs to pickup centers, among other challenges. And they're going to do away with these cards eventually, and they're going to set the digital ID up in your hand through the microchip. Rafi is also cited as explaining that a center has equally been opened in the United Arab Emirates, with a plan to do the same in other countries such as Turkey, Iran, and Pakistan to serve Afghans abroad. And who is the mind behind the digital ID? Esau. This is all his framework. This is all his innovation. Okay, let me get Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and I'll get straight to the point here. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, transgression of the commandments by wine, meaning his philosophy, his mindset, because Esau is crooked, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, meaning he wants to go around the earth conquering other people. That's why these so-called white people, these Edomites, are known as colonizers. It says, who enlargeth his desire is hell and is as death. That's why war is around the world, and cannot be satisfied. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And now he's doing that through the digital ID system. That's how he's heaping to himself all people, by this technology and this plan, this agenda, to get all nations into this digital database. So these different countries are in agreement. Okay? Let's go to this last one here. Angola, this is in Africa, West Africa. Angola begins issuance of ID cards to newborns. Okay? Let me see what this is here. Angolan authorities have announced a plan to strengthen birth registration and begin the issuance of national ID cards to newborns in the country. Right? The MOTB, the mark, will be introduced to all, both small and great. So no matter your status, whether you're a baby, whether you're an adult, you're going to need to be in this digital system. It says the exercise is set to kick off in the northern province of Zaire in the coming days, the country's press agency reports. And a lot of these countries are dealing with digital ID. They're dealing with getting these rural areas of their countries and their children and their, the different citizens registered into a national government database, a digital database. The Special Birth Registration and ID Card Issuance Campaign, So Zeno said, is aside the routine birth registration, which is unfolding normally in the municipalities of the province, which is inhabited by around 600,000 people. The Born with the Birth Certificate campaign is part of efforts to enhance civil registration, especially in rural and difficult to reach communities of Angola. Right, this is what I was speaking about. Expand legal identity and facilitate access to public and private sector services. He heapeth to himself all people. Oh, you want help? You want healthcare help? You want help with food and housing? Well, you're going to need, eventually you're going to need the microchip implant, the MOTB. You're going to have to be a part of the digital ID system so we can verify you in order for you to work, in order for you to be identified to set up a business, to trade. This is what they're setting up. It says Angola is relying on India's experience and financial support. India is one of the countries that are the blueprints and the testing grounds for the digital ID and biometrics as well. It says Angola is relying on India's experience and financial support to build its digital public infrastructure. For instance, it hopes to model its digital ID system after India's Aadhaar, which is acclaimed as the world's biggest national digital ID project. So we're close. Okay? And listen, there's always more and more information that's coming out with this digital system and the fulfillment of Revelation 13:16. If you can't see that we're in a time of this prophecy coming to pass, then you're not a man of the Lord. That's truly following the Most High Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? You know, you're not a real prophet, man. And the scripture says to covet the best gifts and to prophesy. Revelation 13:16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, that's including children, babies, newborns. Okay? Bill Gates found the foundation. They're setting up the digital ID, I believe, in Kenya and other places in Africa. So Esau's putting his money in this to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And it's coming. The mark is coming. Okay? The mark is coming. So we can clearly see what's going on. That's why we say that when the implant is introduced, you other Israelites that are disagreeing with GMS or what the MOTB is, you're going to have to do a lot of explaining and filibustering to your followers. All right? You're going to find out that GMS was always right, 100% correct on all the scriptures. All right? I just put up a video on the new moon and the full moon and debunking that IUIC false doctrine. Listen, man, at the end of the day, we're watching for these prophecies, man. So we're close to the MOTB. With that, I'm going to close this lesson out. I hope it was edifying. I'll say peace to the hopeful elect. Shalom.